My friends, welcome to Mayonnaisegate. We'll give it the funniest name we can, MayoGate. This is a story from WXII. Winston-Salem restaurants struggling due to inflation caused by pandemic. Experts blame inflated prices on high demand due to the pandemic. High demand and low supply. Why is there a low supply? Because in April, 4 million people quit their job. They're calling it the Great Resignation. Why are people quitting their jobs? Because they don't have to pay rent and because they are getting $16 an hour on average from unemployment payments. That's not literally every single person who quit their job doing it for that reason, but a large reason is this. When people don't need to work to get money and they don't need to pay rent, they say to themselves, maybe I should do something else and be more fulfilled. Now, I can respect not wanting to work crappy jobs. But when people don't work, they don't make stuff. When there's no stuff, there's low supply and the demand remains the same, prices will start going up. Now, many of these media organizations are trying to obfuscate this. They don't want people to realize it is the fault of Democrat policies and Joe Biden's administration, so they'll do everything in their power to lie, cheat, and steal. And the worst thing about it is this story really grinds my gears because they're attacking, for no good reason, a local restaurant in North Carolina that didn't even get political. This is Mayonnaisegate. How hilarious and sad. Here's what happened. They say, WXII spoke with the owner of the Sherwood, a family-owned restaurant in Winston-Salem, Pete Straits, the owner, to find out how much trouble inflation has caused. He says that an increase in prices has put his business in a difficult situation. Quote, you can only offset so much in this business, and it seems like every year you lose here, you lose there. I'll give you an example. I'm paying $200 more a week in mayonnaise. Now, when I saw this story, it was because a bunch of Democrat-aligned media figures were mocking the restaurant and calling them liars, saying if prices went up by 5.4%, that would mean that $200, that would equal $3,700 in mayonnaise per week. Because these people seem to think that the price increase is static across all products because they have no idea how the economy works. Surprise, surprise, when they try and push communism or socialism. What really happened, because I called the restaurant and asked them to clarify on this, one of the partners simply said, oh, yeah, we do about 10 buckets per week. They're 5 gallons each. And they used to be about $18. Now they're $36. So you do the math. It's, $18 and times 10. It's about $200. And I went, makes sense to me. And he said, we use the mayonnaise for our dressings and things like that. And anybody who knows, worked in the restaurant industry knows you go through a lot of ingredients. All of these, here's what we end up getting. We have this from Indy 100. Republicans tried to attack Joe Biden over the price of mayonnaise, and the responses were hilarious. They're saying things, look, posting on Twitter, the official branch of the party shared a story in which restaurateurs expressed dismayo about the price of mayo. What? Yes, saying they were spending more than $200 a week on it, and claimed this was due to Bidinflation. The restaurant never said that. That's a lie. The restaurant never blamed Joe Biden for this, but Indy is saying restaurateurs blamed Bidinflation. The North Carolina Republicans must have been too hangry and lacking in egg nutrients to notice, however. The article they shared, they shared quoted experts who blamed the coronavirus pandemic on inflation and not on Biden. Here's what we have from The Independent. This is from a different writer. GOP ridiculed for bizarre Biden mayonnaise smear. Something might be happening with mayo consumption in North Carolina. These people didn't bother doing a simple Google search, calling a restaurant, getting a quote, and saying how much mayonnaise is normal for a restaurant to use. We also have the Huffington Post. Republicans' attempt to smear Biden over mayonnaise gets creamed on Twitter. How much mayo can one restaurant use in a week anyway? And you get all your normal culprits. Aaron Rupar. Everybody knows Aaron Rupar. Yeah, there's a verb. It's called rupar, to rupar someone. Mm-hmm. Do you know what's the definition? To take something out of context and mischaracterize, to falsely frame a story. What designer drug is mayonnaise code for? Jonah Blank says somebody's eating way too much mayonnaise. Then I don't care for these regular, this guy who works at Facebook said, just imagine the heroic amounts of mayo this restaurant must be going through. These people are a combination of ignorant, arrogant, and aggressive. And that is shockingly terrifying, because what does that mean? They're too stupid to understand how basic economics works, why a restaurant might need 50 gallons of mayonnaise per week, which probably does. The restaurant capacity, I also reached out, 250 people. You get 250 people at one time in a restaurant during a wait list period, and you've all had a wait list at a restaurant. How much mayonnaise do you think they're going to use for 250 people in a 30-minute period? And now, how many people are coming through the restaurant every day? It could be 1,000. Yeah. Instead, here's what ends up happening. They all end up lying, saying Mayoflation, mocking the restaurant, and it turns into something much more terrifying. When people start going to their Yelp and saying things like 1-star review, way too much mayonnaise, just mayo everywhere, or 1-star review, too much mayonnaise, used to love the place, but mayo is too much. And so I'm told by the owner, at first they were like, oh, this is silly, what's going on? We're getting trolled or something. And then he said that this morning, it got so intense, he starts getting scared. All these reviews are coming in, it's something is happening and he's scared about what's going to happen. They're trying to make it seem like this guy, a regular guy who's not involved in politics, insulted Joe Biden and lied about the prices to make him look bad. And now these lunatics are actually trying to cause damage to this restaurant who is not political. I have said it before and I will say it again. If you think sitting down and hiding is going to get you out of whatever is going on, you are wrong. And all that's going to happen is this will be life for everyone. You'll be sitting in your little cafe and you're like, I just run a small business. I have nothing to do with politics and I don't want to be involved. And then one day Antifa will show up and throw a brick through your window because someone accused you of being racist. We've seen stuff like that happen. In Berkeley, the people have to put signs in all their windows. I was in Berkeley for some protest event, and there was a nail salon with all of this leftist signage in the windows. And I'm like, there's no way these working class women who are in there, immigrants, are that adamant about their activism. And so I went to a bar, and as I'm sitting at the bar, I'm eating a burger. There was a big thing on the window that insulted Trump and said that he was some kind of turd or something. And I asked the bartender, I was like, all right, what's, everybody has these signs in the window, yours is like, more derogatory. And she's like, yeah, you have to do it. And I was like, so do you agree with that message? Like, are you guys like anti-Trump? And she said, no, if you don't do it, they'll smash your windows. That's what it's like living in the Bay Area. There was a Burger King I saw. This was back in, I think, 2015 or 2016. A Burger King had a big sign in the window, and it said, please do not destroy our windows. We're a family-owned restaurant franchise, not a corporate location. That's what life is like when you let these people keep doing this stuff. During the I think was it the G20 or was it the G7? I don't know. It was in Hamburg. They went around smashing up storefronts. And there's this photo of all of these stores smashed up except for one. And do you know why that one store wasn't smashed up? It had the communist fist in the window. This is an attack on a regular family guy. This is the stuff that I've been saying they will keep doing. And people want to act like, I guess, out of the 300 or so, 320 million people in this country, excluding the children, so you got maybe 250 people. How many of them, are adults? Yeah, maybe you'll be safe and you'll be lucky. Maybe as, you're in the crowd and the bear starts charging in, you're like, I can run faster than everybody else. Maybe you'll be the one person, but man, you could stand up right now and tell these people to shut up, call out the media for lying and going after regular people who are not political, punching down as hard as they can, or you can sit back and let your children inherit this future.
So I tweeted about this the other day. I said something about Winston Churchill and his quote about feeding the alligator. And I said at this point, conservatism has become nothing but feeding the alligator, because all we're doing is saying, I just want to be left alone. Just let me do my own thing. I just want to grill, right? That's like the meme. You can't do that anymore. Like, you don't have a choice. And I also tweeted something inflammatory about how it is now your role to fight. You don't get to have your white picket fence. You don't get to necessarily have your American dream because it's being thwarted by the far left and this crazy people in the media. And your role right now is to figure out what you're going to do about it. And I think until people figure that out, we're going to have a serious problem. We can't just keep sitting back and taking it, but that's what conservatives do. Why?
Yeah. Well, this story is more disgusting than a mayo sandwich. Let me just put it that way. I'm marinating in it and I'm listening to Tim. But what really jumps out to me is that the Democrats a long time ago lost any pretense that they care about the little man. They are not up for the real victims in society. They're the victimizers in the society. They obfuscate that with their grievance politics, their identitarian politics that they continually shuffle out, but they don't care about the folks getting shot in Chicago. Anything that goes against their agenda or against their narrative, they either ignore it, downplay it, or attack people who draw attention to it. And this poor guy in North Carolina who's just trying to put food on his family's table, just trying to run a small business, but is extremely difficult due to a lot of the policies in Democrat-run states, the lockdown policies. Where are them championing the little guys, the small business owners. Jeff Bezos and Amazon raking it in hand over fist this entire time. They don't scrutinize how it's benefiting corporations and multi-billionaires. They don't draw attention to it. They're the forgotten man. This guy in North Carolina, he's the forgotten man in society. He's just one example of countless that you can draw attention to of just grabbing what looks to be a ludicrous headline, and their lack of compassion and lack of sympathy for this small business owners who's obviously struggling is illustrated by the fact that they're not sympathetic with him. It's like, oh, it must be very difficult.
Not only is it Democrat policies and Joe Biden's administration that are responsible for the inflation, but the people who voted him are gloating and mocking you and laughing as you struggle through the muck. They're the ones who threw the sewage on the floor, and they're laughing as you slip in it. Now, let me explain, because there may be a lot of people saying it was inflation, not Joe Biden. Extended unemployment benefits. People are getting $16 an hour not to work. We've already heard from many experts that this is a push factor. And so a lot of people don't want jobs. And the response we get from many of the Democrat establishment activists is, yeah, well, people shouldn't work these crappy jobs anyway, and they should pay better. So it's an acknowledgement. We know. So long as you give people the benefits, if they don't have to work, they won't. You've got the eviction moratorium. People aren't paying rent. Some people are, a lot of people are paying rent, but some people aren't. This means that there is now a bottleneck where retirees and mom and pop landlords, people who own one building and rent out their basement, can't make ends meet. This ripples across the board. You've also got you've got the gas shortage caused by a worker shortage, caused by those factors, which causes all prices to go up. So inflation across the board is on the rise. So long as Joe Biden wants to enact illegal eviction moratorium, so long as he wants to extend these benefits, and it's not just him, it's the administration, the Democrats, and so long as he wants to shut down a gas pipeline, which caused speculators to buy more. I'm not a fan of speculators, by the way. Causes them to buy more, driving up prices, and then shut down fracking on federal land, which causes speculators to predict short supply, which increases speculation and causes price to go up for gasoline. These are factors caused by Joe Biden directly, his policies, his administration, and Democrats. I am no fan of the Republican Party. I think they're trash. Most Americans actually have a worse view of Republicans than Democrats, but the Democrats are the ones who are doing this right now. So I tell you this, I feel bad for this restaurant. I'm also kind of frustrated with people like this, these restaurants. I can't expect him to have known what was going on, but if you think that you can sit back and ignore the world around you, and then you will be safe when the fires or the storm comes, I'm sorry, that's just not true. All that is required for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. And so I talked to the guy, I talked to two of the people at the restaurant, got a comment, and their sentiment was, we don't want to be involved in politics. I think both sides are bad, both parties suck, and both sides are doing it. And I told him, the right, the anti-establishment types, these aren't the people who are attacking your restaurant right now because you expressed a fact about your prices. So if regular people don't wake up to these extremists, by all means, the alt-right, they've been gone for 3 years. Nobody likes them. I get it. Now we have a cult-like authoritarian left that is going to attack anybody who says a fact that goes against their narrative.
Or for no reason at all, as we saw with the Black Lives Matter and Antifa riots all last year. They attacked other black small business owners directly, burned them to the ground, bashed their windows. And I really liked what you said about hanging signs in your door as kind of a totem or a sign. When I go to this lily white neighborhoods in Westchester County, I see Black Lives Matter sign everywhere. I don't think it's because they sincerely believe in this neo-Marxist organization. I think it's a totem. It's like a Jewish Passover where you put the blood on your door and you want people to leave you alone. I did a little social experiment. They had a church right next to a school, and they had all of these Black Lives Matter signs and all of their little punch phrases like love is love, etc., etc. Typical Maoist type brainwashing sort of things that they put on the sign. I took a sign, I ordered it myself, and I put, I believe in racial equality, I believe in freedom of speech, I believe in, and I listed all of these different freedoms on there that I, just from the Constitution, and put it out there, basically to provide some kind of contrast, and I just put it right in the middle of the signs and just waited, and I took a picture and I came back. Guess what? They had taken the sign and they got rid of it because they are not for equality, they're for equity, and that means the government controlling all social relations in this country. And so no, you're not going to be safe. the COVID passports, all of this stuff, we're not used to this sort of in-your-face intrusion, but it's going to get worse because, as you can see, nobody is safe. It's going to be like the social credit score in China that you were talking about.
Yeah. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.